women's soccer. This is the Patriot League Network on Stadium, and good afternoon, everyone. I'm Steve Vecchione with Anthony Mazzini. It has been a wild, wacky, wet week in Worcester for the Crusaders, and today at Lyndon Johnson Smith Stadium, it is windy with the sun shining and the temperature in the low 50s. So Anthony, as we take a look and focus on the standings, it's Bucknell and Holy Cross, a fascinating matchup today with each team having a chance to clinch a home field in the Patriot League tournament this week with a win today.
First of all, Steve, I think you should have majored in English with all that alliteration there, but you're absolutely right, Steve. A lot on the line for both of these teams, a win for either side. They host in the Patriot League tournament. Holy Cross can advance all the way as high as number 2, and with a win today, they guarantee themselves a spot in the Patriot League tournament for the first time in 19 seasons. With a tie or a loss, both sides will need a lot of things to go right. A tie a little bit safer naturally because you gain a point, but a loss, a lot of things would have to go right. For both of these sides, they're banking on a win here tonight to really earn that spot in the Patriot League tournament. They need to bank on a lot of other things with a draw or a loss here today. This Bucknell team is a very good one. They lead the all-time series against the Crusaders. They're a very talented team. They kind of peaked a few years ago, winning back-to-back Patriot League tournaments in 2016 and 2017. Last year, a big graduation rate and a lot of injuries. This year is still on the up and up a little bit. Holy Cross has been playing some really good soccer.
Now, you were here earlier this week for the wet and wacky portion of the week. Why don't you tell us your experience in the eventual 1-1 tie with Lafayette, but a crazy couple days.
Yeah, it really was crazy, Steve, and a little bit disappointing if you're head coach Casey Brown for the Crusaders and the rest of the Holy Cross staff. Played on Sunday scheduled time. It was really wet, a lot of wind, but they played. They played about 56 minutes of that game. You need to play 70 for it to qualify as an official game. Played the entire first half, went into the locker rooms, dried up, whatever they needed to do. At that point, the field was starting to get a little bit wet. They come out in the second half, Holy Cross scores. They start to bunker down a little bit. At this point, the field is really wet. The ball really isn't moving anywhere. Players are kind of sliding around, but honestly, Steve, not much that was much different over the course of the first 40 minutes or so. At one point, the official blew the whistle and said, "That's it, we're calling it." We sat around for about an hour, and it ended up being 1-0 Holy Cross, but ruled a no contest. Came back the next day. Holy Cross scored again, only to be outdone by Sarah Oswald in the second half to tie 1-1 with Lafayette. So a disappointing weekend, and then beginning of the week for Holy Cross when they thought they were going to come out with a win and clinch that spot in the Patriot League tournament a little bit sooner than they could today.
And meanwhile, Bucknell's last game was a 1-1 tie. So here we are, and ties, of course, with Holy Cross is a major theme this year. The records, Holy Cross 4-3-8. They are one away from the all-time record in most ties in a season. That is William and Mary with 9 back in 2005. So 4-3-8, 2-1-5 in the Patriot League. Bucknell 5-10-2, 3-3-2 in the Patriot League. And interestingly, Bucknell's last 2 matches, ties. But before that, they didn't have any ties. So
not until 2015. It's been a really interesting season for the Crusaders, and they've been in a lot of really close games. 8 ties overall, 5 in the Patriot League. That's where they've gotten most of their points. Still a winning record in the Patriot League, but without all those ties, if it were 1 goal here, 1 bounce a different way, they could be staring down a not so great record in the Patriot League, but they've held in tough in some really quality games against quality teams in the Patriot League.
All right, so we're about a minute and a half into the first half here. The goalkeepers for Bucknell, Kaylee Donnelly, a first year, 16 starts, a 1.20 goals against average, an 808 percentage, a first year in this crucial game for Bucknell. And of course, for Holy Cross, Sophia Leteri, 15 starts, 0.86 goals against average, 5 shutouts, an 813 save percentage, 4-3-8 her record. And of course, Casey Brown, the coach of Holy Cross, her 4th season has been a turnaround year for the Crusaders from her first 3 years where she was trying to build some things with culture and establishing a winning situation, which has been the case for the Crusaders this year in the home white, as Bucknell has it in the Holy Cross half. They cross it in front, and Leteri comes out. It's loose in the box, but cleared out of there by the Crusaders and Kelly Crowley. That was a good opportunity for Bucknell. Coach Brown telling me, Anthony, Bucknell is going to be very direct in attacking us today.
Which basically means that they're not going to fool around in the midfield as much. They're going to be a little bit less tactical in terms of breaking a team down, focusing on passes, playing to feet, more through balls, maybe more balls over the top, but like we were saying, off the air, Steve, very windy here today. Right now, it seems to be blowing from left to right on your screen, so Bucknell playing into the wind as it stands right now. Maybe in the second half, we'll see some more balls over the top, but right now, you go to play a ball in the air, it's basically going to come right back in your face like a boomerang because this wind is whipping here in Worcester.
Holy Cross has not been to the postseason since 2000. They were the PL champion in 2000, beating Bucknell 1-0 and winning at Colgate, the host school that year in 2000, 1-0. That is the last time they've been in the postseason, so you got to know that a win today would be a major celebration for this program.
Absolutely, won the Patriot League, and the last time that they were in the Patriot League tournament, surprisingly enough, even though they had some great years back in the Patriot League in the early 2000s and late 1990s and such, they've never won the Patriot League during the regular season. Of course, won't win it this year. Navy, the midshipmen, have put together a remarkable season at the top of the conference, 15-2-1 overall and 6-1-1 in the Patriot League. They've already clinched that top spot. Army's the only other team that has a definite position in the Patriot League tournament. When you look at these possibilities, Steve, it's really quite remarkable. Only 3 points separate third place through 8th place. The only 2 teams that are out of contention are BU and American, so it really is up for grabs here today, both with these 2 schools and a lot of other schools in the conference.
Now Bucknell offside as they again try to directly attack Sophia Leteri. Kelly Cook, the coach of Bucknell, the coach of the year in 2015 and 16. She started in 2015 with this program, and they are the Patriot League champions from 2 years ago and the year before that. So some of these players have experience for Bucknell in this game, but they're pretty young. And Coach Cook telling me before the match today that it's a mix of players, but some young players certainly for this big game for Bucknell today.
Well, you mentioned the goalkeeper a few minutes ago with Kaylee Donnelly being a first year. She's had to do a lot this season, especially with what's been put in front of her. This Bucknell team lost a lot on the defensive end from a year ago. They lose 2 backs, a center defensive midfielder, and their starting goalkeeper from a year ago. So when you're playing in front of an inexperienced and young front, it's been a tough challenge this season for Kaylee Donnelly.
All right, Holy Cross has it in the Bucknell half here. We're 5 minutes into the first half, 39:50 on the clock. Holy Cross had that throw in, but now Bucknell with the run. And upfield comes Parham, the sophomore, or excuse me, Heisel, the first year. And it's taken away. Holy Cross with Bridget Dwyer, sending it upfield. Now Bucknell sends it to the middle of the field, taken away by Mariah Brown. Number 19, she had the winning goal in the 1-0 win against Bryant, and she assisted Crowley on the winning goal against Navy, that huge win over Navy. So now it's Heisel sending it across the field for Bucknell. They work it towards the box, but intercepted by the Crusaders and Peters, the senior.
So one thing to watch with this Bucknell team in terms of that young defense is right in the middle. Allie Russo, a team captain, was an outside back originally, was more of a forward player originally, a midfielder, switched back to outside back early in her career. This season, because of some of that turnover from a year ago with losing some of those seniors, she goes from a defensive spot more to a center defensive midfield, holding midfield position. So she's a player to watch right in the middle, number 6, someone who figures to play a big role both in the attack as well as defensively in front of Kylie Donnelly.
All right, free kick for the Crusaders. Acuna is lining it up. We are at the 38-28 portion of this first half. We're about 6.5 minutes in. So an opportunity here for the Crusaders as it is sent towards the box. In there is Flay high for the Crusaders, but it goes over the goal line. We're going to go back the other direction with the goalkeeper for Bucknell, Kaylee Donnelly, the first year from Warren, New Jersey. Again, 16 starts, a really interesting position for a first year in a crucial game.
And a lot of goalkeepers on this roster for Bucknell, 4, with Reagan Dunwoody as well, Audrey Schaefer, and Danny Kaufman. So a freshman beating out 3 other goalkeepers, 4 including Donnelly is a big accomplishment in and of itself, and you have to imagine that over the course of her career, she will end up being one of the better goalkeepers in the Patriot League.
Heisel sent that forward for Bucknell, and now she has a 50-50 ball here for Bucknell.
And you're seeing that direct play immediately, not wasting any time, playing the ball towards the middle, but Mariah Brown, Lucy Acuna, Bridget Dwyer, that triangle kind of right in the middle with Acuna and Dwyer, the two center backs, and Mariah Brown as a center defensive midfielder, getting a little help in there as well with some other players mixed in. But that triangle between the two center backs and the center defensive midfielder is going to be crucial to help this direct attack.
All right, here's a run for Holy Cross. Jenna Barnes lost control of it. Jenna Barnes set up Katie Quinn twice, 2 different days on those two
career goals.
Yeah, that's right. But meanwhile, Bucknell countering, no score. We're at the 36-40 mark, looking for the cross, and that goes through the 6, and Letary is able to grab it.
And you saw that ball just die down, was very well hit off the foot, but just died down as it went towards that back post. Ended up actually in a dangerous spot. The wind actually benefited that ball on the cross, but nobody was there for the Bison.
You saw the goal kick by Letary. Coach Brown telling me she has grown with preparation. She is a very confident goalkeeper. Here comes Holy Cross. They center it. It goes over the goal line, and not able to make the connection with Barnes, but she was lurking in front there.
Yeah, usually it's Barnes who has been making those outside runs over the last couple of games, both against Lafayette. Of course, the first one on Sunday ruled a no contest, and then she set up both of Kate Quinn's goals, who's been miraculous sub over the last couple of games for the Crusaders, but usually it's Barnes setting up her teammates. That time it was Flay looking for Barnes in the middle.
Here comes the corner from Mariah Brown. Comes into the 6, it's loose, and Bucknell trying to get it out of the box area. Pressure by the Crusaders, tracking it down. Brown looks to send it in. She does so, but it's wide of the goal and over the goal line. Bucknell will move forward.
That's some nice defending on the outside there from the Bison. Nice job on the outside. Abby Gearhart forcing Mariah Brown to the outside on the off foot and just shanked it. Didn't get all of it, and inaccurate cross from Mariah Brown.
Bucknell 3-3-2 in the Patriot League, 2 straight ties as we mentioned earlier. Playing a little better away from home than at home. They're 3-4 away, 2-6-2 at home. But again, this is an experienced coach, Kelly Cook, with success. And Coach Brown of Holy Cross knew that this was going to be a tough matchup for sure. As a matter of fact, in her time at Holy Cross, Coach Brown's teams have not been able to score against Bucknell, so hoping they can have a breakthrough today. Now Donnelly sends it forward, but it's intercepted by Crowley. She'll move to her left, leave it for Fisher. Sydney Fisher sends it to the right for Harkins. Harkins, nice move to her left. Now she goes up the wing, centers it, but it's clear.
You mentioned those goal-scoring struggles against the Bison for Holy Cross. No goals against the Bison, since 2014 with Allie Spencer's strike for the Holy Cross Crusaders. 4 consecutive shutouts for the Bison against the Crusaders, 14 consecutive wins, and a 21-5-2 all-time record against the Crusaders. So really, a lot of the damage against the Bison by the Crusaders came very early in this series, considering Bucknell has won 14 consecutive games in the last 4 via a shutout.
I don't think it's an oversimplification to say that Holy Cross is challenging history here today. We're trying to turn some things around and get into the postseason for the first time since 2000. That would be an amazing accomplishment. But Bucknell, a very good program over the years. They have a lot on the line themselves, so this is a fascinating matchup in that respect.
Absolutely, and again, we're seeing more direct play from the Bison, just lofting that ball over the top, not quite connecting quite yet, but that's the key with this direct attack. You really don't see a lot of connection. It's more of over the top, 1-2 pass, through ball through, over the top, 1 quick pass, through ball through. That's how it's going to be with the Bison. They're not going to have a lot of play through the midfield compared to this Holy Cross side, which will connect a little bit more, play to feet, and use their teammates around them, strategically work around the Bison defenders.
All right, that's a foul against Holy Cross, so free kick Bucknell. We're 12 minutes into the first half, no score, and we've gone back and forth end to end a little bit. It's not been a major advantage either way so far.
That one dangerous cross from the Bison that landed on Letary's back post, but nobody was there, and that one cross from the foot of Flay to Barnes. That was really it for the Crusaders, so roughly one scoring chance apiece.
All right, play at the center of the field, and again, those 50-50 balls in these games that figure to be low scoring. As a matter of fact, Bucknell 7th in the Patriot League in scoring, 0.82, Holy Cross 6th. We have a play along the touchline here. So 6 and 7 in terms of goals scoring per team. Doesn't figure to be a lot of goals today.
Yeah, neither side blows teams out. And talking about the scoring struggles for the Crusaders against the Bison specifically, and you factor that in considering they only score 0.87 goals a game and 13 total, it could be a struggle, especially for the Crusaders. And it might be one of those games where the first side that scores is going to buckle in.
All right, Peter sends it in, but it's cleared back, headed forward. Holy Cross trying to pressure a little bit, keep it in the Bucknell half, but Peters continues to do so, setting it upfield for Barnes. And again, she'll look to set up her teammates. Now she'll take it towards the goal, and one bounce to the goalkeeper, Donnelly.
Ambitious effort from the outside from Jenna Barnes. Kind of banking on that deflection there, because it would have been a relatively easy save for Donnelly from that far out. Too much distance for Jenna Barnes there to challenge Donnelly that much.
Barnes has been in the middle of a lot of early action here, though. Very active. Here's Paige Epp, far side. Taken away by Bucknell, and now they'll come up the touchline, countering, looking to organize their offense.
Again, direct through, trying to play that ball to the outside. Heisel in the middle with a few teammates surrounding her.
Here's Sydney Fisher, had a goal last year, a goal the year before. Still looking for her first goal this year. She's a junior. Now comes to the near side, Kelly Crowley, 3 goals, 3 assists, the top point producer on the team. Kicked out by the Bucknell defense, and that play by Christakos. Throw in for the Crusaders.
Target right now for the Bison is Brik at the top. Playing a lot of direct through her, using Heisel on the outside.
Now comes into the box off the throw in. Bucknell is able to keep it out of the box, but Holy Cross, again, good pressure. Comes towards the center of the field. Epp is challenged, goes after it. Paige Epp is a sophomore from Ontario. Near side it comes to Mariah Brown. Here's Caroline Harkins. Harkins with a double team. Can't get through it, but gets it back. Leaves it for Fisher. Fisher will send it near side. Crowley will survey along the perimeter, now move to her left. Flay is on her right, but she sends it into the middle for Barnes. Barnes moves forward, Barnes shoots! Oh, just over the crossbar. That was super close, and she almost had her first goal of the season. That was as close as anyone has come today.
That was a beautiful flick from Jenna Barnes to herself. Tried to flick it over the defender. Ended up a little bit more to the right than she maybe expected, but maybe beneficial in that regard. And Barnes on her strong right foot just fired it over the crossbar. Would have been a tough save for Donnelly. She was in a pretty good position, came out to cut down the angle, but an excellent individual effort from Jenna Barnes, setting her teammates up the last couple of games and now trying to call her own number here in the middle.
Yeah, we talked about her being very active, and that was as close as you'll want with the ball just going over the crossbar. I'm not sure that Donnelly would have been able to get to that had it not been just a little high there. It was a great effort.
But we're seeing the difference between these two teams in terms of Holy Cross generating their chance from passing around, using their teammates, playing the Bison like their traffic cones. And I don't mean that as an insult, but that's just kind of the best way to describe it here, all the way back to Acuna, just using as many people as possible. Good pressure from Bear, but the Crusaders using their teammates, passing the ball, playing to feet, using the ground, using the alleys, couple through balls here and there, and then you find that one scoring chance, compared to the Bison where it's that one pass in the midfield, control, loft the ball over the top, or the through ball looking for Krogan and Heisel playing through the middle.
All right, you saw Bear almost break free there. Gabby Bear has 3 goals and an assist. And she's in the middle here as the run by Gearhart, Abby Gearhart. Gabby, now the ball's in front, wide open, and that's a team save, a tremendous save. Rebound goes over the goal and over the crossbar. A tremendous team save by Holy Cross with Bear and an open goal. And it remains scoreless. That was an even better chance than the one by Barnes.
Yeah, Harkins came in right at the last second. Lettieri was caught off guard, caught a little bit too far up. A great touch from Abby Gearhart, but great defense from Harkins, who, as an outside back, really gets involved in the attack, but did a great job retreating, came back defensively. It was really only her chance to have, and she made a great goal line save.
End-to-end action. Here we go. Shot on goal. Saved by Donnelly. And that was Barnes again. End-to-end in these teams that don't necessarily score a lot, but what action we've had here in this game that means everything to these two teams. 27 to go first half. Here's Barnes again.
Both of these teams are good defensively as well. The Crusaders allow less than 1 goal a game. The Bison 1.3. So
Gearhart sends it forward, but that's offside.
Kind of surprising to see this much action early on. And again, with the direct style of Bucknell, not much in terms of balls in the air with this win. So getting that one chance really from Lettieri, getting caught a little bit too far out of her net, and a great touch from Gearhart in the connection with Bear. That's really been the best scoring chance so
I'm
far.
wondering if Bear just waited a beat too long before shooting there, because it looked like she had a wide open goal.
The defender was kind of draped right in front of her, tried the fake shot to give herself a little bit of a better angle, waited for Lettieri to get out of the way. But you're absolutely right, she fires that shot on, maybe get a deflection off a leg or a body in front that can put it in, but I think she tried to just give herself a little bit of a better angle. But by waiting, as you mentioned, Steve, it gave Harkins a chance to retreat back defensively.
All right, meanwhile, Holy Cross in the Bucknell half, trying to slip it through. Here's Crowley. Crowley to her left, sends it into the box. Barnes is there again, but coming up for it is Donnelly. But the pressure, really both teams, exciting.
And nice defense there from Chloe Christakos, shielding off Jenna Barnes, really targeting Jenna Barnes, who's more of a facilitator for this team with 2 assists, still looking for her first goal.
Now the Crusaders, saved by Donnelly. Shot from the left wing by Flay.
Clear game plan here from Casey Brown and the Crusaders. Just fire whenever you get the chance. Challenge this freshman goalkeeper, Kaylee Donnelly. Even though she's been really good this year, still only a freshman playing in a huge game, which determines Patriot League implications, and most importantly, whether or not you have a home game. So big implications for this game. Challenge this freshman goalkeeper. If you have a shot, take it.
All right, here's Bear along the goal line. Now, talking about Bear, 3 goals and an assist this year. She had a game winner against Robert Morris in overtime. She had a Patriot League tournament goal last year in the Lehigh match that they lost 2-1 in 2 overtimes. But she is a talented player and one of those experienced players, Gabby Bear. Here comes a corner for Bucknell here. I believe this is their first of the match. So no score, 24-15 left first half. Opportunity, Bucknell with the corner from the far side. It comes in towards Lettieri. Holy Cross trying to get it out of there. Loose in the box, still loose. Chip forward, but Lettieri fields it.
And that's some poor marking in and around the 6 from the Crusaders. I believe it was Christakos who got the first head on it, and a trickling ball right in towards Sarah Hazard. And luckily for the Crusaders, that ball did not find the back of the net because that was poor marking. No shot that the Bucknell Bison should be in with the first 2 touches off a corner.
If you just joined us in the last few minutes, where have you been? We saw 2 great, unbelievable attempts. Well, one by Jenna Barnes of Holy Cross, one by Bear of Bucknell, with a team save by Harkins. And we have stayed scoreless, but a lot of action. Foul against Bucknell, so this will be a freebie for Holy Cross, an opportunity. 23-15 left first half. Bucknell and Holy Cross.
Figures to be a little bit of a chippy game here. One of the first major fouls we've seen of the day, but the Bison do foul a lot, 193, nearly 200 on the season coming in. Holy Cross a little bit more disciplined, 127 fouls entering the match, but should be a chippy match with a lot of Patriot League implications and 2 rivals.
All right, so you see 3 Holy Cross players there who will take it here. Opportunity. Oh, they leave it back. Here's the shot, Barnes, that goes high. So they tried something there. A little heel pass, and Barnes shot it wide.
Yeah, a little trickery. The wall was set up in a certain
Entering
spot,
the game
so
for the
you move
Crusaders,
that ball
number 9,
and
Lexi
throws off
and
the wall a
Salty.
little bit, throws off
In
Donnelly
for number
and net.
6, Paige
But
F.
Barnes leaning back a little bit. When the ball goes high, sometimes wind is a factor, and the wind is at the Crusaders' back, so maybe allowing that ball to sail a little bit, but 9 times out of 10, when the ball sails on you, it's a matter of not getting over the ball. And what I mean by that is your back is farther back. You try to get air under it rather than stay over the ball, have your chest over the ball, and drive through it.
All right, throw in Crusaders. Opportunities for both teams, but we are scoreless. The winner of this game will get, if there is a winner, will get a home field advantage. A tie, all sorts of possibilities, and we'll run through all that as we get closer and we have a result. But at the moment, both teams seeking a win, so they know they can host a Patriot League matchup this week. Holy Cross 4, 3, and 8. They have 8 ties this year, 1 shy of the all-time record by William and Mary. Now a takeaway for the Bison with Gearhart. She'll slip it to the right side, but knocked back by the Crusaders.
And again, the Bison just looking for that one pass to get in on net. Whereas they had 3 players, it was a 3-on-4. The Crusaders still had somewhat of an advantage, but instead of trying to connect through the midfield and into the attacking third, looking for that one pass. There's a lot of benefits of the direct style of play, but when you have a stout defense like this Holy Cross side with a very experienced back line, it doesn't always work in your advantage.
Here comes a cross, kicked back, but Bucknell able to keep it into the box. Trying to get a quick shot off the Bison, but it was deflected and picked up by Letary. So on the offense was Abby Gearhart. No score, 20:40 to go first half. Great opportunities for Jenna Barnes of Holy Cross and for Gabby Bear of Bucknell. A team save by, and a great defensive save by Harkins, keeping this game scoreless for Holy Cross. Holy Cross has a better goals against average this year than Bucknell. Holy Cross 3rd in the league, 0.83. Bucknell 8th in the league, 1.24. So that's an area that perhaps Holy Cross has an advantage in terms of goalkeeping, but Bucknell was really close to scoring the first goal of this game.
And just to kind of drive home that defensive prowess of this Holy Cross side, Samantha Peters, senior, Bridget Dwyer, senior, Lucy Acuna, senior, Mariah Brown in that center defensive holding midfield position, a junior. Really the only youngin along that back line is Caroline Harkins, who typically likes to get involved in the attack. So when you play this direct style of play, you're going up against a really strong and a really experienced Patriot League back line. And even though they haven't had a lot of success in recent years in the Patriot League in terms of the Crusaders, a great season last year in terms of the Patriot League, but they haven't had the Patriot League experience. This almost kind of has the feel of the Patriot League game, but a lot of times experience
entering the game for Holy Cross, number 23, Katie Quinn. For number 12, Carly Flay.
We've seen 2 subs now for the Crusaders. Lexi Ann Saldi came in a few minutes ago. Now we see Katie Quinn. The goal scorer the last couple days, had her first career goal negated back on Sunday, picked it up again on Monday, same setup. It was deja vu with Jenna Barnes, but Ansaldi plays a key role in that midfield as well. She was very active against Lafayette.
Holy Cross leads in shots 5-3. Now they have a potential shot that's blocked. Holy Cross trying to keep it in. Slipped forward. Now it comes to the right side for Ansaldi. That shot is blocked. Knocked away on a good defensive play by Leanne Engelman, first-year defenseman. So a first year with a big play for Bucknell. Corner coming up for the Crusaders, and taking the corner will be Mariah Brown.
This is a spot that George has been, Quinn, Katie Quinn has been targeted. Not only along the flanks and playing the ball to the middle, but also on the corners.
Goes to the far side. And Bucknell is able to get it out briefly. Now the shot goes wide, taken from up top. 18-15 left first half, so Holy Cross had a corner there, but again, they have a 6-3 shots advantage now. 3 shots on goal, Holy Cross, 2 Bucknell, 1 corner each. And 2 fouls, Bucknell, 1 Holy Cross, with 18 minutes to go in the first half. Now the Crusaders pressuring, trying to keep it in. And there is Katie Quinn, had the goal twice in 2 days against the same team, Lafayette. 1 counted, 1 was erased, but she was able to make up for it in an eventual 1-1 tie with Lafayette. And the game replayed on Monday here after the Sunday washout. An amazing Sunday and Monday here. And Coach Brown talking about emotional fatigue, the team having to come back from that. She gave her team a lot of credit for hanging in there in a situation this week where they had to replay the game.
Not only mental, but also physical. You come back, you play more than half of a full soccer game. And I mean, the way I was trying to think about it is running through snow, and anyone that's kind of run through or trudged through snow, when you have that extra resistance, it kind of wears on you a little bit, Steve. And even though it wasn't snow out here, we don't want to throw that snow word around too soon here in Massachusetts.
We're not in Colorado right now.
But it was a similar situation where the field was so wet, it was almost like you were running through snow. It was just water instead, and it was weighing everyone down, and difficult situation. All right,
Krogan sent it forward, but another offside against Bucknell. So Bucknell with a little pressure there, but unable to organize effectively. So it'll be goal kick Letary. Again, she has a .813 save percentage this year. And Bucknell's had 3 offsides now, 0 for Holy Cross.
When you play that direct style of play, sometimes you get a little bit over anxious, and that's what happened this Holy Cross back line, again with the experience, playing a little bit of an offside trap defense.
All right, on the right side is Heisel. She dribbles it forward, but not much behind that, and Letary again able to collect. Last year, Bucknell was 7-11-1. They were 5-4 in the league. They were the 4 seed in the Patriot League, and as I alluded to, they lost to Lehigh 2-1 in the second overtime last year. But in 2017 and 2016, they were the PL champions. They were 16-2-2 in 2016. Now at the center circle, the Bison advancing it up the right side is Krogan.
And if this Bison team does advance to the Patriot League tournament, even though kind of a few down years making the Patriot League tournament in both, but when you set such a high standard in terms of winning the Patriot League back-to-back seasons in 2016, 2017, they'll enter as either the 3 or 4 seed, but this is a dangerous team with that Patriot League tournament experience, and you have a head coach in Kelly Cook who certainly knows what she's doing in the Patriot League, led the team to the first ever Patriot League championship game for the first time in 2007, Patriot League Coach of the Year in 2015. So even though it might not be that first or second place finish like Bucknell has become accustomed to in such a nice tradition of Bison soccer over the last few years, this could be a very dangerous team come tournament time if the Bison are able to make their way back into the PL tournament.
All right, Barnes heads it forward for the Crusaders, but a takeaway by Bucknell. Comes to the near side. Challenged by Harkins. And Holy Cross with the possession. Here's Bridget Dwyer.
She had all day, maybe played that ball a little bit too soon. She could have carried a little bit more.
Quinn with the run. She was hemmed in by 4 players, and Bucknell back defensively.
And Dwyer, I think, got rid of that ball a little bit too soon, elected to play it to Quinn, who was draped, as you mentioned, Steve, by 4 players, 1 on her back and 3 around her. Kind of played that ball 2 feet, something we've seen a lot of from the Crusaders tonight, a little more of an indirect style, but played the ball right in a position where Quinn really couldn't do much with it. Dwyer should have carried the ball. She could have gained all the way close to midfield, forced this Bison defense to move back a little more, and then found Quinn with a little more space.
So after some end-to-end action, some breathtaking action in the game, we've had a little bit of a lull, but now it comes towards the box. No score. 13:45 to go first half. Sarah Hazard, the junior, sends it towards the touchline where it's tracked down by Abby Gearhart, the first year who has 3 goals, and she had the game winner against Towson. Gearhart also scored in the last game, the 1 goal they had against American. A disappointing tie, 1-1. Now it comes in, Letary grabs it with a couple Bucknell players lurking in the 6 area.
And we were talking about that off air, Steve. You have to imagine the Bucknell Bison would like to have that game against American back, that 1-1 draw, and that's not a knock on American, but they're just having a tough year, and with the pedigree of the Bison playing for a Patriot League spot, especially a home match, if you pick up a win in that game against an American team that struggled this season, especially in the Patriot League, kind of eases you a little bit heading into this game where you can only improve your position.
All right, here's Crowley. Back for Harkins. Pressure Bucknell. That ball eluded Engelman, and chasing it for Holy Cross is Katie Quinn, trying to get her second goal. Again, she scored twice, and the second goal that she scored against Lafayette, first one, of course, didn't count, as we've been telling you. Coach Brown telling me second one might have been a little prettier than the first one, is how she put it to me, if it's any consolation.
Yeah, I can attest to that. I was here for both games, and the first one, cross in from Jenna Barnes along the left flank, did a nice little flick on the outside of the right foot, a nifty touch, especially from that angle, having to play the ball on the outside of your right foot, but still a nice finish right in the middle. And then the other one in the next day, because the first one was negated due to the no contest ruling, a similar situation. It really was deja vu. Left flank, right on the outside of the box from Jenna Barnes.
Around the same time.
Around the same time as well. And it was a left-footed finish. So the off foot from Katie Quinn, maybe that's why it was a little prettier, but really caught the ball, struck it well with the left foot.
All right, meanwhile, the Crusaders being pressured by Bucknell. Bucknell not sitting back, looking to see if they can spring one of their talented scorers like Bear or Gearhart, but Holy Cross is able to get it to midfield, and they'll send it into the Bucknell half with Crowley double-teamed. Back it goes for Ansaldi. Lexi Ansaldi, the sophomore, has a goal this season. Here she is with it. Sends it to the center circle from Mariah Brown. She'll slip it forward, trying to connect with Fisher, but Bucknell sends it back. And now Bucknell will try to organize. Heading upfield was Heisel, but kicked out on a nice defensive play. Lucy Acuna getting back.
Entering the game for Bucknell, number 8.
Throw in for the
Parham for
Bison
number
with
19,
Engelman.
Brik. Also in number 5, Riley Donaldson. For number 3, Gabby Bear.
A nice play earlier, stopping a Holy Cross opportunity. She'll throw it in here. Heisel had it taken away. And now the Crusaders will send it upfield. Chasing it for the Crusaders, Quinn. Tried to get into space, but that was knocked out by Petey Nacetta.
That's one for the Crusaders. Playing a little more direct there, just lofting that ball forward to the hot hand, or hot foot, I should say, Katie Quinn. A lot of the Bison forward, play it to your top forward up top and see if you can generate something in a one-on-two situation, but good defense, good disciplined defending from the Bison.
All right, we're approaching 10 minutes to go in this first half. We've played 35. We've had some chances, but no score, which is not unexpected. Here comes the throw-in. Donnelly comes up for it near the goal line and prevents anything from getting too loose in the box area. So a good job by the first year collecting that. 9:45 to go first half. That is Gearhart, good scorer for Bucknell, number 12. Now the Crusaders countering with Fisher. Goes up the left side. Here's Barnes. Had a big first 20 minutes of this half with a lot of activity, including a near goal, which just cleared the crossbar above it. It was just a great effort and a near miss. Throw in Bucknell. Holy Cross now not sitting back, trying to create a takeaway. Knocked out by Fisher. So it's approaching evening here, about 20 minutes away from 6 o'clock in Worcester. And after a wet week of very extreme kind of weather around here, it's a windy day today, but it's a sunny, pretty day as we're in the late afternoon.
It really was a nice day with the exception of that wind, which will put the advantage to the Bison in the second half when they switch direction. Moving from left to right on your screen, any ball in the air from the Bison.
Entering the game for the Crusaders, number 11, Shelley Plumsack. For number 10,
Crusaders
Kelly
haven't used it to their
Crowley.
advantage that much, but that's just not their style of playing a little more indirect to feet, whereas the Bison like to play direct over the top with those one or two touches in the middle and then the through ball through the back line. So have to imagine in that second half, the Bison will have the advantage of the wind in their favor.
All right, Bucknell with a run. Goes along the right side, chasing it is Parham, but it goes out over the goal line. Holy Cross has not lost at home this year. They are 2-0-5. We told you about the 8 ties, 4-3-8. They're 2-3-3 away from Worcester, but at home, Holy Cross has been in every game, and they're 2-0-5, and hoping that at minimum they don't lose today, but of course they want the win to clinch things.
This is a Holy Cross team that they'll have a lot of turnover next year, especially on defense. Peters, Dwyer, Acuna will all be gone. Harkins getting some time as an outside back this year is just a sophomore, but they'll have some turnover. But it's a team when you have 8 ties and 8 extra time games, it's just almost a signal that you're 1 or 2 pieces away, 1 or 2 years away, where you're playing up to the competition, you're competing in a lot of really close games, but you just don't have that experience or that one piece that says we can win this game. We can have that one piece that pushes us over the top in a lot of these games.
And of course, the 8 ties, Coach Brown not viewing it in a negative manner, the ties. As a matter of fact, complete opposite, as we have physical play at the center circle. It'll be Holy Cross possession here. But thinking that the 8 ties are indicative of the kind of play where they've been in every game and they've been getting points, and it's such a turnaround this year from past years. So the power of the tie internationally, the draw is a big thing. So not a negative at all, the 8 ties.
Well, especially in terms of the Crusaders last year, 3-6 in the Patriot League.
That went all the way through.
3-6 in the Patriot League. So this season you look and say, okay, last year we lost 6 games. This year we haven't won as many, 3-6 a year ago, still just 1 win away from that total, but we also haven't lost as many, Steve. So it's also a situation of she's looking at it in a positive light, whereas, okay, last year we lost a few close games. This year we've taken that next step, we've tied.
Now the Crusaders, a collision, a huge collision. 3 players, including the goalkeeper, including Katie Quinn, and I think we're going to get a stoppage here, I would think.
Donnelly's
down, yeah.
Can't see who the player hovering over her. Now the player getting up.
So hopefully she's okay, but you mentioned they have other goalkeepers too, but
Niseta also shaken up a little bit, but
of course her health, of course, the most important focus at this moment.
Yeah, the main concern is Kaylee Donnelly.
5:49 to go, first half, with the clock stopped, and so again, as they take a look at Kaylee Donnelly, again the collision with Katie Quinn. There was. You mentioned the other player there. I believe it was Niseta who was there.
Yeah. So she seems to be okay. She's kneeling down a little bit, maybe grabbing that lower back. And now, yeah, she looked like she was going to take a seat and now hobbling over. But the main concern is Riley Donnelly and Kaylee Donnelly, excuse me, and really no intent there in terms of a dangerous play. Exactly, 50-50 ball bouncing in the middle. Quinn, excuse me, came up clean. She seems to be okay, but Kaylee Donnelly a little bit shaken up, taking the gloves off, and
Coach Cook
might be done.
Coach Cook had a lot of positive things to say to me about her before the match today. Said she's been fantastic. The first year out of Warren, New Jersey. So she got up and she's gingerly walking towards the Bucknell sideline.
It would be Reagan Dunwoody, the backup goalkeeper, who would be first in line. 4 keepers on this roster, but Dunwoody has received most of the action in reserve of Kaylee Donnelly. 2 games, 1 start with a 1.77 goals against average. She's warming up along the near touch line. So if Donnelly is indeed done, which seems to be the case, it would be Reagan Dunwoody.
And she's from Milton, Georgia. She's a sophomore. You mentioned she has 7 saves, 2 goals allowed, but not a ton of action this season. So Reagan Dunwoody, and you know, this is why practice is so important. You know, you get into situations where you have to be ready, and Reagan Dunwoody may be, well,
she goes now,
yeah, it's her. So she's going to back up Kaylee Donnelly after Donnelly has to leave due to injury. So we'll see if Holy Cross is able to pepper her.
Now in goal for Bucknell, number 0, Reagan Dunwoody.
All along, any chance you get for the Crusaders, they're going to put a shot on net. And in terms of Reagan Dunwoody, very, very inexperienced, very raw, did not play a single minute in her freshman season. This year, just 2 games with only 1 start. And her last action coming this season was back on October 8th, nearly a month ago, against Columbia. She did play nearly the entire game, allowed 2 goals and made 6 saves.
All right, here it comes in. Saw the shot, save. She gets a save on the first shot, or that was Quinn rather, who took that shot on the first minute of her action. She makes a save on Quinn.
And that's encouraging to see from Dunwoody. Not allowing that ball to escape her grasp. Sometimes when you're a backup goalkeeper, it's just first instinct, okay, go in and make that save, but you're not really worried about the rebound. That's very disciplined defending from Reagan Dunwoody to say, okay, I need to make this save, but I also need to keep it in my mitts because there are a few players charging in on me that would collect that rebound and flick it right over me. So nice save there from Reagan
Enter
Dunwoody.
the game for the Bison, number 13, Bailey Hurst, for number 9, Annabelle Heisel.
Pressure situation there for Reagan Dunwoody, and she handled it well, which bodes well moving forward as she remains in this game in place of Kaylee Donnelly,
I would think there would be an advantage getting some early action and making a save for her confidence. Meanwhile, her teammates who are up on the other side of the field were under 5 to go in this first half, approaching 4.5 to go. And Bucknell has it in the Holy Cross half here. And they're going to get, let's see, is this a corner or a throw-in? Looks like it's going to be a corner. So opportunity Bucknell, 4:15 on the clock, first half, no score. Winner hosts, if there is a winner, hosts the Patriot League first round. And a whistle in the box.
Shove in the back, looks like. Player went tumbling into the net for the Crusaders. I think it was Sydney Fisher coming up to help back defensively on the corner. She went tumbling in towards the end line.
We won't go through all the scenarios if these teams don't win today, but as far as Holy Cross is concerned, there are plenty of scenarios in a tie or loss situation, and we'll go through that as it becomes necessary. But just suffice to say, you know, it's whoever wins, if there is a winner today, they're in hosting.
Absolutely, and you want to get this win. A tie, you know, it sounds stupid to say, it sounds easy to figure out, Steve, but a tie doesn't hurt you, but you would need a couple things to go your way. A loss, it still doesn't put you out, but you would need to bank on a lot in order to get in with a loss today.
You never want to have to rely on other things from other teams. So the situation is within both teams here with Quinn. Left side shoot, saved by Dunwoody from the left wing on the drive by Quinn, who almost had her second goal. How about that? Reagan Dunwoody comes in and she has 2 saves, the second a brilliant save.
Nice job coming out, cutting down that angle, no panic. Stared down Quinn, excuse me, keep calling her George. Quinn, my apologies to Katie Quinn. Stared down Katie Quinn and just took that shot right around the head and did a nice job of holding on to it again. But how about that touch first off the knee right to Katie Quinn?
All right, here's Acuna, 2:20 to go first half, no score. A lot's happened in this match, even though it's scoreless. Acuna sends it deep. Bouncing around, Quinn chasing, but it goes through and over the goal line. So it'll be Bucknell possession. And right now, Bucknell, with their backup goalkeeper making 2 saves, the second of which was a huge save. We remain scoreless, 1:55 to go first half. Holy Cross will look to see if they can get a takeaway here and create something late here in this half. But Bucknell sends it up along the touchline out. Throw in Crusaders. It'll be Harkins, but now we have a whistle. We're going to do it again.
And with approaching 1:30 here left in this half, have to wonder how these teams are going to play it. Holy Cross with a little momentum, a few of these opportunities. That last one for Katie Quinn on a beautiful touch. So Holy Cross may be aiming for 1 or 2 more offensive chances, but now it goes back to the Bison with 1:20. It's going to be interesting to see how these two teams decide to play it. Do you just play to the half and regroup and try to get something in the second half, or are you trying for one more lightning attack here before the half ends, 1:10 left?
All right, so now Bucknell, we'll see if they can create an opportunity late here in this first half. We are at 1 minute to go in this first half.
1 minute remaining in the first half.
Moves to her right, being challenged by Harkins. Slips it through to Gearhart. Gearhart pokes it to the left side, but no one was home. Kept in, though, by Hazard. Comes to the middle of the field. 43 seconds left first half. Now Crusaders have it. They move it to the Bucknell half of the field. 35 seconds left. Run here by Shelley Blumsack. But it comes back to the middle of the field.
We've seen a few nice touches here from these Crusaders. Jenna Barnes had one. We saw one a few minutes ago from Ansaldi. Now that Blumsack touch, it's a little crafty, nifty play, playing one-on-one against these defenders.
15 seconds left in the first half. Harkins will throw it in. Blumsack's on the right.
9, 8,
sends it
7,
towards Blumsack,
6,
but Bucknell knocks
5,
it out. 5 seconds
4,
left.
3, 2,
And I don't think they're going to be able to
1.
get anything off here. We saw great chances around the middle of this first half.
Our score at halftime,
Barnes
Bucknell 0. Holy
just
Cross
missing
0.
on a strike over the crossbar, then a team save on the attempt by Bear of Bucknell. Holy Cross in big trouble, and somehow they kept it out of the cage. And Anthony, no score. We're back soon for the second half. I'm Steve Vecchione with Anthony Mazzini. Again, if there is a winner tonight, that team will host a Patriot League quarterfinal matchup this week.
Be the difference, but Harkins really came flying out of nowhere to make that save, a phenomenal save. So chances in terms of quantity favor the Crusaders. Chances in terms of quality have to favor the Bucknell Bison right now, and now the Bison playing into the wind a little bit.
And you were talking about Bear. She's a talented senior with 3 goals, and she has a game-winning goal this year against, that was the win against, let's see here as I check my notes, the Robert Morris game. So she's a talented player, and Holy Cross will look to see if they can get the breakthrough goal. They have not been in the postseason since winning the Patriot League in 2000. And it's the Crusaders going now from right to left as we are underway here. Crusaders have it in the Bucknell half. Crowley sending it back. Sydney Fisher sends it up the right side. And it'll be throw in Crowley. We're just underway, about 1 minute into this second half, no score. Fisher for the Crusaders, working with Crowley. So at nighttime descending upon Worcester. 6:10 on the East Coast. Big game here in the Patriot League. No score. In front, loose shot, blocked in front. Holy Cross with Flay there, but it goes out.
Barnes with the first chance, Flay with the second, as that ball deflected to the left of Reagan Dunwoody. If it bounced to the right of Dunwoody, Paige Epp would have basically been all alone, so a fortuitous bounce there for the Bison.
Throw in. Bucknell's able to come up with it and send it upfield.
Again, the chances favor the Crusaders. That was a good one, but a lot of traffic in front. Give credit to Bucknell for really packing in for a defensive stand right there. A good offensive chance for Holy Cross, but so far that one quality chance still favors Bucknell.
All right, so Holy Cross has lived in the Bucknell half of the field in the early going here. Advantage field position Crusaders. And the Crusaders again will look to see if they can put pressure on the backup reserve goalkeeper Reagan Dunwoody, who made 2 saves, one of which was a brilliant save in the first half.
We'll see how that direct style of play changes here for the Bison. They were at a disadvantage in the first half with the wind playing into it, coming in their face. Now with the wind at their back, they can elect to go with some of the loftier balls forward over the defense.
Acuna back for Holy Cross, sending it ahead to Crowley. And Fisher will reorganize. The Crusaders will look to create more field position. The better the field position, obviously, the bit more the opportunities will exist. And Holy Cross had a big shot advantage in the first half. Bucknell maybe had the best opportunity of the game, but the outstanding play by Harkins, as Anthony alluded to, on the defensive save in the 6th, keeping this game scoreless. Now Bucknell able to advance. And back for the Crusaders, Acuna. Acuna now comes in front quickly, and that was a quick cross, and lurking in front was Heisel, and it went through.
And that's an exact situation of that direct style of play. Play the ball forward to be Brik Kropanak, and then you have the runner right through the middle, Heisel. That time it paid off. You have that one attacker up top, and so far it's been Kropanak for the most part of this game, with Heisel playing in that support role. That's a phenomenal example of the dangers of this direct attack, and Holy Cross needs to be on their toes.
Heisel had her goal this year in her first year against Columbia. She's a first year from Pacific Palisades, California, in the LA area, near the Pacific Ocean, obviously.
I'll tell you, Steve, I feel like a weatherman the last few days, talking about tonight with this direct attack and the impacts of the wind on Sunday and Monday with the weather here in Worcester with the rain and the wind. I should probably get a new job with a weatherman.
All right, Bucknell sending it towards the box. There's Gearhart, able to keep it in. Bucknell with Heisel chasing it, but the takeaway. And back come the Crusaders with Peters. Peters, the experienced senior defender. You talked about the defenders earlier for Holy Cross. They've been very good at not allowing a lot of goals this season.
And Peters likes to get involved in the attack as well. A goal, 2 assists on the season. Haven't seen that as much here tonight. Creeping up a little bit now, but hasn't had many attacking third opportunities here tonight.
Flay tried to get it into the box, but Bucknell sent it back towards the center circle. Foul against Bucknell, so free kick, Holy Cross, no score. We have played 5 minutes in the second half. We're right at the 40-minute mark, no score. So much riding on the outcome of this game for these teams. Holy Cross trying to get back into the postseason. It's been since 2000 that they've been in the postseason when they won the Patriot League. Now the kick comes in from Acuna, deep. That's headed up top. Flay tries to keep it in. Flay chases, but it comes out. Kept in by Peters. Now she'll reorganize.
Good support from Gabby Bear, the forward, coming in, taking that ball away.
All right, the takeaway by Gearhart. And back for the defender, Carlucci. Carlucci now working with Bear. It comes upfield with Krogan. Now play at the middle of the field. Crusaders again with good field position in this half. We'll see if that translates into something. Mariah Brown sends it to the far side. Holy Cross operating.
Good example of
Fisher. Fisher up top. Fisher sends it to the right side. Now chasing it is Crowley, and that's kicked out. Go ahead.
A nice example of how aware this Holy Cross side is of the direct style of play. Mariah Brown, Samantha Peters not really getting involved with this offense right now. Brown comes in on the outside of the 18 now, but at all times, anywhere from 4 to 5 players back for the Crusaders right around midfield. And now with this corner, they'll send a few more forward, but they realize that it's just 1 or 2 passes and a long ball forward, and they can get caught in a counterattack situation.
The corners were even in the first half, but again, the Crusaders in the first half, a 9-3 shots advantage. So in the corner there is Carly Flay. She has a goal and 2 assists this year. Her goal came against St. Francis, but this is an opportunity to send it into the box if that's what they elect to do. Peters is just to her side, but it comes into the box. Crowley heads it, and making the save was Reagan Dunwoody.
And she's down, holding the ankle.
And of course, she's the senior from Westboro, Massachusetts, a fixture here with Casey Brown. It's a little slow to get up, but she's making her way up a little bit and gets a nice hand.
And she'll try to get up, because if the referee had to blow the whistle, she would have been forced to come off. So now you figure with the goal kick, give herself a little bit of a chance to recover here. So she really wanted to try to get up, and she did. A little help from her teammate Carly Flay to force her to get up, but you know, that's good to see her get up, not only to stay in the game, but also to show that that injury is a little bit less significant than it originally looked.
And she has been with Casey Brown through these years of trial and error and the culture change and trying to instill a system, and so many things have paid off for Holy Cross this year, 4, 3, and 8, and trying to get into the postseason. But Bucknell, a tough opponent, and here's Krogan leaving it for her teammate Bear, the senior. Being challenged and marked, that's sent out by Samantha Peters. You had senior versus senior on that individual effort.
And good awareness, good experience from Peters, not kicking that ball over the end line, doing a good job of getting a little bit in front of Bear and getting that touch to force it out for a throw rather than a corner.
And that's Carlucci with the throw in for Bucknell. It goes over the goal line. Who was it off? Looks like it was off Holy Cross. So corner coming up for Bucknell. What do we got in the corner there? Looks like Heisel. So it's Annabelle Heisel, the first year. Opportunity for the Bison here. No score. 36-45 remaining in regulation. Here it comes, curling in, near side, kick back. Holy Cross looks to counter upfield. They get it out towards the center circle. Bucknell keeping it in, but it's deflected. And here's a run for the Crusaders with Paige Epp. Paige Epp at the center circle. 3-on-2, comes to the left side. Chasing it is Fisher, or excuse me, Flay, who's back in there. Now it comes in. Flay looked to be okay on that run.
And that was much too slow from the Crusaders. They had a 3-on-1, maybe 3-on-2.
Great move. Moving in. Shot. Oh, it is a score for Harkins. That bounced in. Caroline Harkins with 36 on the clock. 9 minutes into the second half. 1-0, Holy Cross.
Just a phenomenal individual move, an attack-minded outside back. Give a lot of credit to Dunwoody. She did all she could, reaching out as high and as far as she could, but just too much power on that shot from Harkins. And as of right now, the sophomore with the big chance and the big finish. Well, as Holy Cross in position.
I mean, she had the defensive play of the game in the first half, and now it is Caroline Harkins, her first points of the season. And what a time to get her first points with the goal. And it's 1-0 Crusaders. That came with 36 on the clock in the second half. So Holy Cross is able to get it past Dunwoody. And now Bucknell will look to counter. It is 1-0 Holy Cross here in this crucial game. That ball goes over the crossbar. The goal for Caroline Harkins from Hingham, Mass, sophomore. The defensive play of the game, and now the goal at this point of the game.
And a great move, but just too much space on the outside of the 18. Right at the top of the box, Steve. Just way too much space for Caroline Harkins. 1 dribble, 2 dribble, got past about 3 defenders and fired a beautiful shot with the left foot. But again, a player that
Holy Cross
historically a little bit used to playing
Caroline Harkins.
In terms of offense. Had some great offensive performances last season, recorded an assist in her freshman season, playing as an outside back, as an offensive-minded outside back, always gets involved with the runs, and that time it pays off with a goal, and it couldn't have come at a bigger time.
Holy Cross leading 1-0. Jenna Barnes chasing it. Now she gets it back on the feed from Flay. Barnes in the corner. Ball goes out. Barnes had 5 shots in the first half. 2 on goal. She had a great chance early in the game. She had the assist on the goal against Lafayette, on the goal by Katie Quinn. Twice she had the assist. Only 1 counted, as we've documented. Meanwhile, Bucknell, they're down a goal, and Holy Cross has it in their end. Bucknell, they finished in a 1-1 tie with American in their last game. Both goals came in the first half. Abby Gearhart scoring for Bucknell. So the goal scorers for Bucknell are Bear with 3, and this year Gearhart has 3. Those are the key players, and they're going to hope to get those players unleashed. But Holy Cross has had the better field position, Anthony, in this second half.
Well, Bucknell has the advantage of a diverse scoring attack. 9 different players have scored this year. Their 12 assists have all come from different players. So you can key in on Bear, you can key in on a few of these other players, but a player who we really haven't mentioned a lot of tonight, Jenna Marek, has not really made much of an impact in this game. We haven't even seen her at all. She's a player that, if available, if fit, if healthy, can come in and make a difference. Last year led the team in goal scoring with 4. So they have a lot of players that can make an impact.
All right, the takeaway for Bucknell. Petey Setter, who was involved in that collision in the first half, and she had been a little slow to get up, but we've seen Flay get up. We've seen Nasetta back in the match, but the reserve goalie in there for the Bison, with Kaylee Donnelly having to come out as a result of that collision. Bear sends it upfield. Acuna back for Holy Cross, but that's offside, with Gearhart trying to get her unleashed.
That goal not only big for Holy Cross, but also for the Bison. They've had a winning record in the Patriot League. Each of the last 6 seasons, a loss today would put them at 3-4-2. And in the grand scheme of things, you don't really care about record. You just need to find a way to get to the Patriot League tournament. But with a loss in terms of Holy Cross's chances being tied in the Patriot League right now with the Bucknell Bison, with the loss, it would take a lot for the Bison to get in. They need a lot of losses from a few other teams ahead of them in the standings and even a few behind them as well.
All right, Barnes up the left side. You got players in the middle. Barnes will send it in front. Shot Epp, save by Dunwoody. That was a good idea, but they weren't able to get much behind the strike.
And Epp tried to go with her strong right foot. Great closing defense from Chloe Christakos, who has been really involved as a center back tonight. She's had to make a few really good defensive plays. Hard challenge from Mariah Brown, but Christakos has been good, but just too much space on the outside of the box by the entire Bucknell defense on that goal from Caroline Harkins.
Caroline Harkins' goal in the 9th minute of this second half. We were scoreless at the half, although it was advantage Crusaders with shots. Now from the center circle, it goes deep towards the box. Bucknell trying to get something going here. Loose in the box. Got to be careful, but Holy Cross able to clear with Barnes. Barnes sends it upfield. Here comes a challenge, a chase, and almost getting to it was Quinn, but it was knocked aside by Christakos. That was a very athletic move, a good run by both players there. Throw in far side. Crusaders with a goal here in the second half, leading 1-0. And they have it in the Bucknell half of the field. Quinn tries to get around 2 players, slips it forward into the middle. Here's Epp. Epp working to her left. Nice little slide. The shot goes over the crossbar by Fisher. Good play by Epp, setting up Fisher just high.
Again, you got to get over the ball.
Entering the game for Bucknell, number 2, Lily Courts. For number 4, Sarah Hazard.
Curl it in, put a little spin behind that ball, and in the process, she's leaning back. Got to get over that ball. There's nobody in front of her. One time like that was set up perfectly from Epp. Right, poked it right to the outside of the top of the box. Just lean over the ball and drive that through.
Epp has been very active in the last couple minutes. That was a beautiful play, and opportunity for Holy Cross.
Trying to get a bit too cute there with a little bit of flair and some curl and spin, trying to aim towards that upper 90.
All right, Epp, another nice pass to the right side for Brown, but it's going to go back the other direction.
The handball jumped up on Mariah Brown.
That was another nice play, though. So Bucknell, they have not had a lot of opportunities against Sophia Letary.
Well, look at the way their formation has changed a little bit here as well. Look at the space all through the midfield. A lot of players, a lot of bodies committed forward. No wonder why Holy Cross is getting these counterattack opportunities, is because there's so much space. Everyone, for the most part, is forward here for the Bison, and rightfully so. Down a goal, Patriot League tournament hopes probably on the line. They would need a lot of help, but even as much as they need a goal, they also can't surrender another one.
So along the near touchline, we're going to get a throw in for the Bison. And again, field position dominance, Holy Cross in this half. Not only have they scored, but they've had other opportunities, the Crusaders. And the Bison, they had that great chance in the first half with Bear. They were denied by the defender Harkins in the 6th, and they've not really put a lot of pressure on throughout the game. But it's only a 1-goal game. And Bucknell, with their experienced head coach with a lot of success, very much a factor here, although Holy Cross has outplayed them throughout the match by and large. Meanwhile, it's going to go back upfield with Bucknell putting on a little pressure here, trying to get something organized with Gearhart. Lily Courts sends that to the far side along the perimeter. Nice move to the right. That's Gearhart challenged. She was challenged by Brown. Goes to the left wing. Bucknell doing a better job here organizing. Now the shot goes wide and high from the left side, and that was the strike by Heisel. 27:55 left second half, 1-0, Holy Cross.
Entering the game for Holy Cross, number 9, Lexi Ansaldi. For number 12, Carly Flay. And number 25, Grace Keith. For number 19, Mariah Brown.
On Monday, and she was very good against the Leopards. And Salty coming in as well, very active in the midfield.
All right, Bucknell will get a throw in here. 27-20 left in regulation, 1-0 Holy Cross. We were scoreless at halftime. 9 minutes into the second half, the goal by Caroline Harkins. Bucknell doing a better job keeping the ball in recent minutes. Bear will look to maybe cross here. She gathers it. Now she's challenged and loses it. Double team on Bear. They're watching her. She is good. Now comes out to the center circle. Christakos will send it forward. Holy Cross under a little pressure here, but now they're able to advance it. Chasing it is Quinn. Quinn unable to get around the defender. And that was Christakos. Now Quinn comes away with it. Barnes, nifty move to her left. Looks to maybe cross it. In front it comes. Oh, and collecting it was Dunwoody. Barnes, maybe a shot, maybe a pass, but right in front there, Holy Cross with another great opportunity.
Just a little too close to Reagan Dunwoody.
And she was trying to get it to Epp, who has played a very good second half. Now goes to the Holy Cross half of the field. Dwyer along the far side for Holy Cross. 26 minutes to go, second half. And if you're a Crusaders fan and you haven't been in the postseason since 2000, this is a long 26 minutes right now. But they have a 1-goal lead. A second goal, of course, if you're Holy Cross, would be monumental. But Bucknell only down a goal, although they have been outplayed, particularly here most of this second half. Bear tried to get it for Bucknell, but Holy Cross able to send it back to midfield. Carlucci back for Bucknell. Take away Epp, that hitter, along the touchline, throwing Crusaders.
Bouncing back and forth here. I think you'll see a point in this game where the Crusaders maybe elect to stay back a little more, commit fewer bodies forward on the attack, bunker down defensively, but for right now, they're still going to stay back, not get caught out of position, but at the same time, you still want to try to get that second goal to give yourself a little breathing room. But as long as you don't get caught forward with this direct style of play for the Bison, you should be okay, still trying to get that second goal. But I think there will come a time, maybe around that 10-minute mark, where you see Casey Brown and company elect to play a little more of a defensive-minded game.
That was Brik Krogan who took that hard shot on that bounce for Bucknell, and Bucknell has it in the Holy Cross half of the field. Back is Dwyer. Now throw in Crusaders with Peters. Pressure by Bucknell off the throw in. Not sitting back here, trying to create opportunities, trying to tie this game. Both these teams played to 1-1 ties in their last games. This is a 1-0 game right now, Holy Cross. Ball goes over the goal line. And haven't called her name too much here, Sophia Luteri.
Yeah, she had to make a couple saves and needed a little bit of help from Caroline Harkins in that first half, but not a lot of chances on Luteri. Just 2 shots in the first half for the Bison, and really the exception of that one save from Luteri, the only chance has been the goal line save from Caroline Harkins with Gabby Bear bearing it.
And again, Luteri has 5 shutouts this year, 0.86 goals against average. Opportunity here for Bucknell though, with Carlucci moving the ball and lining things up here. Elena Carlucci, the sophomore defender. She's from Massachusetts, from Berlin. So the Bison down a goal here, 23-10 left, second half, regulation. Carlucci sends it to the far post. And Barnes will retrieve it for Holy Cross and send it back to midfield. Back Carlucci. And we are just about halfway through the second half now.
Good turn from Bear.
Double teamed.
Some frustration there. Bear thought, number one, she was fouled, and number two, immediately turned over after a nice individual move.
Play along the touchline, goes out, throw in Bucknell. So I'd say in the last 5 minutes, Anthony, Bucknell's done a better job keeping it in the Holy Cross.
Entering the game for the Bison, number 5, Riley Donaldson. In for number 3, Gabby Bear.
Chances. You know, it's one thing, it almost seems like they're going against their usual style of play. They've done a better job of playing a little less direct, which goes against what they typically do. They've had a few more connecting passes here and there, but at the same time, when you try to adjust how you play, a little bit less experience playing a more indirect style, used to having direct style of play and getting those 1 or 2 quick lightning chances on the ball forward or on the through ball, or a couple quick passes here and there. But when you try to change your style of play, they're getting some offensive possession time, but they're not generating any chances with it.
All right, throw in Carlucci. And keeping it in, Christakos. That goes towards the goal line and out, so Crusaders possession. 21-25 remaining in regulation. Holy Cross under Casey Brown, 3-12-2, 4-9-4, 5-12-0, and a breakthrough season this year. Over 500, 4-3-8, 2-1-5 in the Patriot League. They have not lost a game at home, and they lead 1-0 here in the second half. Bucknell has it in the Holy Cross half. And the Crusaders will do their best to not allow this tying goal, but it's going to be difficult against a team that's well coached and has winning experience. That's a move by Fisher at the center circle. 1-0 Holy Cross. They have it in the Bucknell half of the field. The move by Quinn, sends it forward. Ooh, trying to get behind the defense on Saldi. Taken away by the Bison, but they lose control of it. Throw in Crusaders.
And 23-on-23, Quinn against Engelman. And great defense from Engelman, standing her ground on what would have been a nice turn and a great touch pass through.
All right, on Saldi towards the goal line. Bumping and being challenged by the defender, Niceta. Coming out with it is Barnes. To her right, crosses it, far post, that goes out. Looking for Quinn. Under 20 to go in regulation. 1-0, Crusaders. A very excited group of fans here. Holy Cross. Patriot League champions in 2000, and that is the last time they were in the postseason. It's been a while.
We'll talk about history at stake. You have Patriot League implications for both sides. Patriot League tournament history for the Crusaders in terms of the last time they were in 2000. 6 consecutive winning seasons in the Patriot League for the Bucknell Bison. 14 consecutive wins against the Crusaders for the Bison. The 4 consecutive shutouts is now lost. That would have only held up in a 1-0 tie or any sort of normal shutout, a 1-0, 1-0, 2-0 victory for the Bison. So that shutout is lost. This was the first goal for the Crusaders since 2014 with Ali Spencer against the Bison. So a lot of history implications here tonight, and of course the Patriot League implications.
Holy Cross has a 14-6 shots advantage as the ball comes in off the free kick. Bucknell looks to keep it in. Now that shot's blocked. That hit the defender for Holy Cross.
And on a cold night, that's going to hurt Caroline Harkins just a little bit more. Summer night, early fall, you can tolerate it. Doesn't sting as much, but a little bit chilly here now. First day of November, that one will sting just a little bit more.
Bucknell has only 2 shots on goal in the match as compared to 8 for Holy Cross. Corners are even at 3. Now the Crusaders with Barnes in the middle of the field, in space, slips it ahead. Dunwoody comes out for it just before the Crusaders and Quinn are able to get to that.
Yeah, Quinn stayed out wide, and she slowed down her run, understandably so, had to stay on side, but in that situation with Barnes on the outside and along the left flank, along the near touchline, if Quinn was able to start cutting cross the back line and read that through ball through, not only would she have stayed onside, but she wouldn't have had to stop her run.
Entering the game for Bucknell, number 3, Gabby Bear. For number 9,
Annabelle
Hazel.
And slowed down her run because she had to stay onside. In a situation like that, cut across the defender, have Barnes play that through ball through the middle, and then you run onto it, you stay on sides, and you don't stop your run, and she would have had a free opportunity on Reagan Dunwoody.
So
entering the game for your Crusaders, number 12, Carly Flay. For number 6, Paige Epp.
Nice deserved, well-deserved, I should say, rest for Paige Epp. Crucial on the Harkins goal and had a chance for an assist on Sydney Fisher's offering that went over the crossbar.
That was a great pass.
It really was. Right with the toe of the boot. All she could was falling down just enough to get it to Fisher. Tell you not to kick the ball with the toe of the cleat, but when you're in a situation of I have no other chance and it's a matter of getting the ball to a teammate or putting it on frame, you do whatever you can. They say to kick with the laces or the inside of your foot along the big toe, but in that situation the only chance that Epp had was to get the toe of the boot on it, and did what she could and almost led to another goal.
All right, this will come deep here into the box area. Bucknell able to clear. Pressure Crusaders. Barnes chasing. Being challenged that time by Carlucci.
Would have been a good chance for an overlapping run. Have Barnes take it, move backwards while Peters goes with an overlapping run towards the corner.
The official time on the goal by Harkins was 54:01. In the 55th minute here. Now a run here for Bucknell. Challenge and a takeaway, Acuna. Nice defense. That had a promising start for Bucknell.
Riley Donaldson with the attacking opportunity and great defense from Acuna.
Peters with the run, up ahead, chasing Flay. Back for Bucknell is Nacetta along the touchline. .10 to go, second half. Throw in Bison. Carlucci, Holy Cross pressuring that. Content to sit back. They want to keep the pressure up, keep the field position, maybe get a second goal, which would be large if they could get that second goal. But Bucknell has kept it to a 1-goal lead. Holy Cross has had more chances since they scored.
Fisher had time to turn. I don't think she realized there was no one on her back. She could have turned and had space in front of her.
Great challenge and a takeaway there by Grace Keith.
She's very good at reading plays and interpreting what's going to happen in front of her. We saw that a lot in the game against Lafayette on Monday. That time coming through, sneaking out of nowhere, really, and came through with a nice interception. Keep that ball in the attacking third here and keep the Bison pinned back on their heels.
The excitement starting to build here in Worcester. There's 14:10 to go in this second half. Holy Cross has been the aggressor most of this game. Although we were talking about the direct style of Bucknell, it's been Holy Cross who came into the game with more shots per game on average than Bucknell, dominating in the shots. That's a heel pass attempt there by Donaldson. Donaldson's been active the last minute or two for Bucknell. Flay being challenged. Holy Cross, though, able to get it upfield. And Barnes tries to get it to space. Back Carlucci. Barnes turns around, couldn't find it, where she would have had a breakout. Out comes out. 13.5. The time remaining in regulation. 1 goal in this game that came in the second half. Here's Barnes. Barnes lost it. This is going to be Bucknell possession.
And now we're seeing a conference here with Jenna Barnes. I don't know if I agree with that call. That's 50-50 ball, maybe a little bit too hard of a challenge, but just a talking to there. Happy to see the official keep the card in the pocket. The last thing you'd want to see here is an official intervene and alter the outcome of this game. In a game like this, two teams that are vying for a spot in the Patriot League tournament, you want to keep the whistles and cards to a minimum and let the players play.
Letary came up for that off the free kick, not allowing the ball to get loose. So 13 minutes to go regulation as we monitor the time remaining. Ball at the center circle. Barnes sent that forward, Bucknell clearing it back to the Holy Cross half. That's a nice move. And now here come the Bison in space. Slipping it forward. Donaldson taken away by Holy Cross.
Nice ball from Gearhart.
Now the Bison putting on better pressure. That's Heisel who went down.
See the first card, Peters gets it. Getting a little chippier now, a little more physical, but at the same time, I don't know. That's a tough one. Peters is going to plead her case, but luckily that was on the outside of the 18, just barely a foot or two away, but Peters doesn't like it, picks up a yellow, her first of the year, but in a game like this, you got to let the players play, and at the same time, as an official, you need to keep the game under control, but that Patriot League play, I don't know, maybe in non-conference you pull out the card there, but Patriot League play always gets a little chippier.
All right, here's Gearhart. Big opportunity for Bucknell. Clock stopped, 12:28 to go. 1-0 Holy Cross. Great chance for Bucknell. Towards the far post, Letary grabs it. She saw that all the way, got her hands on it. So we stay 1-0 Holy Cross, 12:15 to go. We have a very enthusiastic gathering here in Worcester, sensing history. 2000 was the last time. It's been a long time since Holy Cross has been in the postseason. Under 12 to go. Throw in Crusaders, Bucknell pressure.
Entering the game for Holy Cross, number 19, Mariah Brown. For number 9, Lexi and Salty.
All right, here comes the Crusader throw-in. Bucknell looking to create a takeaway. Carlucci with the throw-in. Gearhart splits the D, but it goes through and cleared by the Crusaders. Flay has it. Takeaway. Nacetta crosses it. Letary's up for it, and she's not going to take any chances. 11:05 remaining second half. Bucknell had a great opportunity a minute or two ago off that free kick, but Letary was very poised in the box off that flurry in the box area. Now on the far side, it's Gearhart trying to get into space, slips it to the left side, but the Holy Cross defense, Acuna, sends it upfield, intercepted along the left wing, takeaway, and cleared. Holy Cross's defense. Here we go with a potential breakout for Flay with the run. Here comes Flay to the right, shoots! Oh, just wide. Just wide. Dunwoody came out and with the shot and the angle just missed.
Yeah, great goalkeeper.
Entering the game for the Bison, number 9, Annabelle Heisel.
From the Bison,
for number 5, Riley Donaldson.
Great run from Flay, a couple touches, push the ball out in front of her in order to run onto it. Rather than keep the ball right at your feet, that'll slow you down a little bit, push the ball forward, rely on your speed, confident in your speed, but great goalkeeping from Dunwoody. Didn't get the save, but cut down the angle just enough.
And Bucknell perhaps taking more chances offensively and getting a little more exposed defensively.
Yep. Absolutely, you need that goal, you have to commit more forward.
All right, meanwhile, here's Quinn, right side, looks to cross it. Here it comes deep across the other side with Barnes, who'll keep it in. Barnes sizes it up, now shoots, and it's deflected just wide. That was either a pass or a shot, but it was deflected wide. Just missing again, the Crusaders.
Would have been an own goal there for the Bison. And that probably would have spelled the end of their hopes. Engelman pushed it just wide.
So the Crusaders with the corner. Up a goal, along the goal line. Now up for it. Had it knocked away was Brown. Bucknell will get a throw in here. There's 8:40 to go. 8:40. Holy Cross has had additional chances beyond their one goal, but they're holding on to a one-goal lead here. That's a great takeaway by Peters. Sends it up the right side. Here comes Dunwoody. The goalie lost it. Quinn shoots. Score! Katie Quinn. 2-0 Holy Cross. 8:18 on the clock. 2 goals in 2 games for Katie Quinn.
That started with Bear, lost it, trying to back down the defender. A nice takeaway in the middle. That's a perfect example of playing the ball, not the body. We saw some poor defending from Bucknell because they were playing the body. They were buying the fits. They were buying the juice. As a result, it was almost no goal from Engelman just a few moments ago because the Bison were playing the body. The Crusaders more fundamentally sound defensively, playing the ball, not the body. Bear, as Letary slipped, almost lost it. It'll go out for a corner kick, but great defending from the Crusaders in the midfield. And then Dunwoody, as great as she's been, coming in a tough spot, lost that ball. Quinn never should have gotten it, but Quinn moving to her right and freed herself up with a wide open net.
That was the goal that they needed. That gives them some breathing room. They had a myriad of chances after they had that one goal.
That figures to be the dagger.
Maybe. Bucknell's still in it. Down 2. And they're going to look again maybe to put a little more pressure on and just try to keep the ball in the Holy Cross half, which may expose them defensively. We saw that breakaway earlier that did not
Holy
result in
Cross
a goal.
goal scored by number 23, KT Quinn. Assisted on the play by number 4, Samantha Peters.
Now she'll get a little help from Carlucci, but that's about it along the back for the Bison. And the Bison haven't had anything moving towards Letary in a while. She was only called upon to make 1 save and had a few scares here and there, but for the most part, there hasn't been any offensive opportunities for the Bison.
The assist, by the way, went to Peters on that goal by Quinn. So again, she's had 2 goals in 2 games, and I guess it doesn't count statistically, but we'll say 3 goals in 3 games.
Technically 3, only 2 count. That'll be quite the story for her growing up. Hey kids, I scored 2 first career goals.
I mean, the weirdness of what happened here Sunday and Monday with her scoring nearly the same time in each game. The first one didn't count because the game didn't count. The second one did. She got her first goal as a first year, and now in as big a game as Holy Cross will ever have, Katie Quinn, the second goal in this half. There's only 6 minutes left in regulation, 6 minutes, and Holy Cross, they are sensing a historical win.
The only difference on that Katie Quinn goal a few moments ago was who set it up. Peters pickpocketed Bear in the midfield and set up that ball on the long cross forward, which never really should have gotten through to Quinn, but didn't corral it completely. Dunwoody, the goalkeeper. That's the only difference. It was Barnes setting up the first 2 first career goals.
Possible opportunity here, Barnes. She is breaking through. Barnes scores! 3-0 Crusaders! And that is Jenna Barnes, who had 5 shots in the first half, a near goal in the first half. That's her first goal of the season. She had 2 goals last year, a goal the year before. 3-0 Crusaders, and it's Holy Cross. Doesn't look like they're going to have a tie tonight. Leading 3-0 second half. As much as the ties have been a positive, giving them points, This has been a breakthrough second half. They lead 3-0.
Phenomenal game plan by the Holy Cross Crusaders. And that's an example of getting caught forward. Barnes stayed on side.
Holy Cross goal scored by number 3, Jenna Barnes.
Down 2-0.
Assisted by number 23, Katie Quinn.
Back in a short period of time. And that's just a case of keep those 1 or 2 players forward in case you have a counterattack opportunity. Barnes the beneficiary here for Holy Cross.
All right, Bucknell down 3, and Letary covers that up. So Barnes had the assist on the Quinn goal that didn't count against Lafayette. She had the assist on the goal that did count.
Yep.
She had 5 shots, I should say, in the first half here. She's been extremely active all game long, Jenna Barnes, and she is rewarded.
Well, you like to see that when a player does so well at playing through the midfield, generating scoring opportunities, setting up your teammates, now to call your own number. And that certainly feels good for a player that does so much for this team. A junior now from Sudbury, 2 goals, 2 assists last year, nearly identical numbers this season now with that goal, and he's put together a nice little career here with the Crusaders.
4 minutes, 5 seconds remaining in regulation, and Bucknell will need something extremely special now with Holy Cross up 3. Bucknell came into this game 3-3-2 in the 5th spot. Other games are going to determine seedings the rest of the way. Here come the Crusaders in front. Flay high, score! Just wide of the left post. Just missed the 4th goal of this half.
Entering the game for Bucknell, number 13, Bailey Hurst.
Although that didn't go in, there's 3.5 to go. And it's been relentless pressure, as you alluded to, by Holy Cross with their game plan in this second half.
For a team that struggles to score, they have not looked like a team that has struggled to score in this second half. And you get an example tonight of the direct style of play just has not worked well against this back line and midfield for the Crusaders, whereas the indirect style for the Crusaders has worked out well for Holy Cross.
So again, repeating, Bucknell's starting goalkeeper the first year, Kaylee Donnelly, was injured in the first half. She had to come out. She was replaced by Reagan Dunwoody, who did a credible job tonight, no question. Yes. And she made a brilliant save in the first half, but it's been relentless, using that word again, Holy Cross offense. And we have 2:35 to go. And something that hasn't happened since 2000 is about to happen here today at Linda Johnson Smith Stadium.
None of those goals really go on Reagan Dunwoody. The first, a strong ball off the foot of Caroline Harkins. She did all she could. It was really poor defending on the outside. And then the last 2 goals have just been an example of strong perseverance and a lot of bodies committed forward for the Bison. You could say she should have held on to that ball from Peters that Quinn eventually put in the back of the net, but that was really the only blemish. The 3 goals against Reagan Dunwoody are not an example of how well she played here tonight, especially the situation she was thrown into.
Casey Brown told me that she was hoping her team did not overcomplicate things today, that they play loose and have balance. Here comes a corner. That goes high and in the box. Bucknell keeping it in, but they have kept it uncomplicated. They have been very aggressive in this game, and she told me that the culture change here at Holy Cross has been a monumental jump. She said this year is the best I have felt as the Holy Cross coach. She said it's really cool to see what we've been doing here. There's a minute 20 to go in this match. Here it comes in. Holy Cross up 3. But for Casey Brown, this game is the culmination of a tremendous amount of hard work. And we have 1 minute to go here from Worcester, with Holy Cross leading 3-0 against a Bucknell program with a lot of history. Patriot League champions in 2016 and 17. They won titles in 2001 and 5, so this school has history. They have excellent soccer, but today is Holy Cross's day, and they lead 3-0, 40 seconds to go in the match. Goals tonight by Harkins and Barnes, and the Crusaders just playing an outstanding game with their 3 goals. And we have 20 seconds remaining. Quinn with the 3rd goal.
10
seconds left.
8, 7, 6,
5 seconds left.
4, 3,
Holy Cross
2, 1.
will host a Patriot League tournament game for the first time they are in the tournament
Crusaders
since
3,
2000.
nil.
It's Holy Cross 3, Anthony, Bucknell 0. A great moment here in Worcester.